flashpoint where we should expect flood, susceptible areas where we should expect flood. Nothing is done. It's like we are good at response after the approach. Exactly. so we wait.
Nigerians.
We wait and act as if we are surprised that there's flood. Meanwhile, we were prepared from the word go.
Yes,
you know. So
true.
sometimes when I hear about the flood and how many people are once again affected, properties once again affected, I'm like, excuse me, we actually do have got this warning. Unfortunately, we have a semi-literate population, and so NOA to say, you know what, there's a flood warning here. Let us get people notified, farmers notified, you know, so that you save your properties. So I don't.
What you're saying is very, very important, because I always say that when we discuss the Nigeria issue, it's a holistic approach. You're talking about the fire brigade approach that happens to Nigeria, that's always towards the ending, that we always change. It's the mindset of Nigeria, and this mindset can translate to every facet of our life, including politics, including leadership. So Nigeria is, you know, I'm always saying vernacular. I actually learned something from you, that if all of us sweeps our houses,
the front of our will be clean.
In fact, the first time I heard that, I must give it to you. The first time I heard that, I actually heard it from you and adopted those words as actually my lines now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it's about it. The Nigerians will always wait for this fire brigade approach. Our mindset is the biggest problem, because now we talk about
when you say Nigerians and you say our mindset, whose mindset are you directed
we Nigerians?
To? Because I mean, a lot of these people whose areas are affected often do not even know that their areas are flashpoints. Those, you see, elections are coming, and that's the conversation we're having in a bit here. Elections are coming. When it comes to the candidate to vote, we see how vigorous, how intense campaigns are. From the nooks and crannies, you go there. Like Nigerians would always make that make fun of NEPA bill. They always reach everywhere. But when it comes to information that will help, nobody takes it as a responsibility. And I'm saying, when you say Nigerians, are you talking about the ones who are very much unaware? No town hall meeting is done in places that are considered flashpoint to say, you know what, brace up for this. Move if you have to. Let's remove let's ensure that the water channels are enhanced.
Do you know why?
Just to mitigate the
we play politics with everything.
Unfortunately.
It's so sad. We play politics with, because a lot of times we always blame the president. Well, that's why the president has ministers. He has aides. They appoint AC on this, AC on that, and
you're going too far. Let's not even go federal. Let's go to states.
So
how would you be comfortable? You have commissioners on environment. You have it trickles down. They are local government chairmen. They are
and when you're trying to help the system, I think it's very good. When you're trying to make impact, add value to the system, you see the system fighting against you. People always want to see how they can cash out. People want to see. Now our problem is that everybody wants to cash out. Nobody wants to. Nobody join. In fact, out of 100%, the people that want to work, let's just say less than 10%. The rest want to cash out, and that is our biggest problem. And it still boils down to the mindset.
Participation, it will make it even more difficult to rig an election.
True.
You know, so and it's unfortunate when you hear young people say, oh, they don't do their thing, and they are a bit aloof about a political process that determines the quality of even the air you breathe, the quality of water you take, the quality of food that you eat, if there's even any, you know. So it breaks my heart to see young people, and we were groomed by young people in our political history who were fighters for the Nigeria we have today, who knew and were patriotic to the cause of the Nigeria of our dream, a beautiful Nigeria. And when you hear young people today who are very, very unfazed by what's going on, my heart is broken. And I also know that it comes from distrust that has been built over the years of leadership problems that we are facing in the country. So you are a young man. Let's get to the crux of this issue.
This is the crux of the issue.
Yes. So you're a young man. 2027 elections is drawing closer, I hear that politicians would always say that if when you wake up after elections, you start campaigning for the next. I'm not sure how it's properly phrased, but yes, I hear that a lot. But do you get disillusioned or overwhelmed or whatever when you see that we are talking about politics already? We're talking about 2027. Alignments are coming. I mean, all these conversations when we have fundamental issues to address.
It's so sad that we have gotten to the point that we have forgotten about governance, and we now just channel our energy into politics. I always say that my biggest challenge or my biggest criticism of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he plays too much politics. He knows too much politics. From 1993, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been in the political space. He ran as a senator for under SDP. He was a very close, and in fact was supposed to be Senate president, but he had to step down his ambition because of his project or his mentor, MK Abiola. And then even in that 1993, Atiku Abubakar was contesting presidential ticket with MK Abiola under SDP. So it shows you that, and there's so much for us as young people we need to learn. First of all, these older generations they have this strong network. Yes, we are fighting for Atiku, Bola Tinubu, Peter Obi. All of them, they know themselves. All of them, they know themselves. What really shocked me one certain time was when I saw that during 2023 election, when Atiku stood as a father for Buhari's son. Yeah. Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of things that this political elites are united among themselves. And it's what we young people must understand. We always fight their wars. You understand? Old men start wars, but the young men that kill themselves, we always fight their wars. And you look at the people always jumping from pillar to post, are the young people. What are we using our energy for? You understand? What are we using our energy? There's so much for. It's so sad that 2027 is here. This 2025. We're in the middle of 2025. More than the middle of 2025. In fact, we started talking about 2027 in 2022 or 2023. So it is so sad that it is time for us to go down to governance. And you add, Dr. Joy, you add 4 years your age, add another 4 years, you know that we are not growing younger. You know, this Gen Z is coming behind, these people coming, they will not give us chance. So.
Which is a good thing. I want a vibrant. I really wish they no go give us chance. I honestly wish that was the case where they are so invested, they are so patriotic, they are so in love with the country, they are participating so much in governance and political processes that they no give us chance. That's the healthy competition that I want to see, because there is no healthy competition that will not culminate to having good leadership. It's going to be talk of war. It's going to be the best emerging. But I am afraid that in political spaces, young people like you who are active in political parties get quiet. Yes, I understand, but I don't. No, let me land with where I'm going to. You get quiet when issues are mentioned and no young person is going to be given a platform. There was such a time that before even a national chairman of a political party emerges, there's a national convention. Again, healthy political process that brings about the best of the best, right? Where democracy plays stretches its or how is this it called, its muscles, and then you see the beauty of democracy where the best is picked by the people, right? We no longer see that. This nominations come from late night meetings. You wake up in the morning and the political party says we have accepted this person as our political head, and it trickles down to leadership. Young people no longer have opportunities these days to flex their muscles as citizens of this country who want to serve the country. So what happens? Conversations around certain individuals now decide who the collective future of Nigeria is. And young people like you who have opportunities in political parties, who get this rare opportunity to sit at those tables, let it happen.
Well, Dr. Joy, first of all, in fact, just yesterday I was reminiscing about how my political journey started. How maybe from primary school, I had the privilege of being class prefect, then secondary school, university, and then secular politics. I was first of all the social secretary of Young Lawyers Forum, Abuja Unity Bar, Then I was appointed the national leader of ADC. And I was just looking at how it all started. And then after national leader of ADC, I became interim chairman forum of national leaders of the political party. Soon thereafter, I became the national leader of APM. And now I'm the national leader of ADC Coalition Support Network. And I was just explaining how my journey started into the whole secular politics. And I realized something. And I was very grateful that, God, I don't have any political God for that apart from you. I mean, sincerely. Let me say, make we talk. No, make we talk. Since this is okay. Raw. This is raw. Let us
this
say
is uncensored.
Uncensored. I don't get any political father apart from God the Father. And I felt humble. I felt very, very humble because it gives me an opportunity why we must do what we have to do. I'm going to tell you, Dr. Joy, 2027 will not be business as usual. First of all, I want to appeal to every young person. We must be united. Young people are not united enough. There's this issue of sellouts. We easily sell out. I will say something. 99% loyalty is not loyalty at all. Young people most times, and we are not loyal to the cause. We understand that this older generation have weaponized hunger and poverty. But we young people should fail to understand that as young people, this older generation use us against ourselves. The reason why this older generation have momentum is because they have young people supporting them and they have money to throw around. So as young people, we must understand that see, Dr. Joy, I wish we had more young people that had our mindset and consciousness. We will not be where we are right now. Because majority of the young people are sellouts. I will not lie to see, I see this every day. I was having a meeting with the president of Youth in Politics. He came and we had a meeting in my office and we spoke. And I told you that if you're ready to work, I'll work with you. I'll support you. You're a young person. I'm excited. You understand? In fact, even before the program, I was telling you how we need to join hands. But all this is not about the Dr. Joy Asoye or Barrister Morris or anybody. No, it's about we young people. We young people must come to the table to have these discussions. We will be sincere and we understand that, like, we are not going to be young people forever. But understand that we are going to one day have to give steward of what we have done. What did you do? So 2027, I tell you, Dr. Joy, most of us have found our purpose on earth. 2027 will not be business as usual. This is beyond. Oh,
it better not be. No, we do not have the liberty.
But we need to appeal to Nigerians out there and to young people, regardless of political party, whether ADC or APC or whether SDP or Labour Party. First of all, we are all Nigerians first. This is our future because we can't be talking about the future. 2027 is the future.
Of course.
We can't be talking about the future without involving young people in the conversation. And young people that have the opportunity, those that are also in the room, they should understand that it's not just about yourself. Because most as young people, we get carried away.
Absolutely. So, Barrister Morris, yes. Unfortunately, we really have run out of time. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Excited.
We are going to have more conversations like this. This is the part 2 is coming shortly. And this is where we draw the curtains on this segment. We are going on a short break now to return with Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide as she's standing by. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back after that.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Sustainability Pulse with Abide, your go-to station, your go-to platform for everything sustainable. How do we weigh and measure where we are as a continent, as a country? How do we drive conversations towards implementation? How do we ensure that each of us are held accountable and we're able to drive through our actions to a point where climate change will be a thing of the past? And while saving the environment, we are also doing, the ideal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in as usual. On Monday, we had a critical conversation here on the future of work. What does it mean the future of work is green? What does it mean? What does it imply? What does it entail? What are the opportunities there? And we had a whole conversation around it. The opportunities we have, so while saving the environment, the opportunities to be pursued, their heights to be attained, and this is possible. It has been predicted that by 2030, AI will replace about 85 million jobs. Where does that leave me? Where does that leave you? And of course, while trying to cut emissions, there are actually a lot of things we can delve into as young people. A lot of jobs we can harness, a lot of jobs we can come up through innovation. And that's the whole idea of this conversation. To weigh and examine where we are as a people, as a continent, and where we are headed, and the way forward, obviously. And of course, beyond the conversations on the future of work and the opportunities that are abound, we did talk about, the tips. The tips we're used to giving, the tips we're used to having, and of course, the charge, the final charge from every episode. Thank you for tuning in again. Today is another Wednesday, and of course, we would have our short, climate news and updates to see where we are as a continent, as a country, and of course, where we are headed. It has been noted that last month, over 170 countries came together to discuss the plastic treaty. What does the plastic treaty, what's it all about? We have talked about it before on this station, on this particular platform. The plastic treaty will be that treaty that will guide the activities and production to the usage and of course the disposal of plastic. It is a document that will be holding countries accountable. So let's watch out, let's all look out and watch out for the plastic treaty as it comes on board. It's not finalized yet. Countries are still meeting, discussions are still ongoing. And of course, by September 8th to 10th, we will be having the Africa Climate Summit in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. That also would also bring to bear what leaders of the continent are speaking and are acting towards the whole idea of climate change. I mean, a lot is going on within the continent. A lot is going on within Nigeria. Currently, just last week, Thursday, we had the federal government reappoint a new Director General of the National Council of Climate Change Secretariat. So we have a new DG on board. So it just, all of these things actually shows that the conversations, the thoughts around climate change is ongoing, and we all have to be part of the conversation. We all have to be part of this to know where we are as a country and where we are headed. Now, Africa continues to face severe climate challenges in 2025, and that's the truth. And the truth is, Africa faces urgent and escalating realities of climate change, such as persistent droughts and deadly floods. This is something that we're not averse to. We are used to experiencing it. And it's been said that, of course, countries that are particularly affected are West and Central Africa. You would agree with me that here in Nigeria, it's something we constantly see all the time and experience. Flooding has become a menace. It has become something that we all dread. So once it rains, the next thing we're thinking in our heads, will be, there'll be flooding in some parts of Nigeria. It is alarming, and we need to do something about it. The average surface temperature across Africa in 2024 was approximately 0.86 degree above the 1991 to 1999 to 2022 long-term average VMO. Looking ahead, the second African Climate Summit, like I said before, it's happening in September. And of course, the leadership of the African continent would have to come together to discuss, what to do, where we are at, and of course, take this conversation to implementation seriously. Now, there's a growing discussion about accountability. Now, the UN top court, has actually ruled that countries can now sue each other over the impact of climate change. So you can imagine, as we are now as a country, we can actually sue China because of the impacts of climate change. Mind you, they're the highest emitters. that it hires emitters. And of course, like we have always said on this platform all the time, Africa combined as a continent has a very small portion of contribution really when it comes to climate change. We actually emit less than 4% of the world's emission. Imagine Africa as a continent, the entire 54 countries in Africa emits less, combined emits less than 4%. So it means that the conversations, are timely, they are urgent. So the top UN court has said, you know what, you can now sue a country, yes, over the impact of climate change. And of course, we're looking at the skills and talent challenges really. Companies are struggling with talent acquisition as only 29% of businesses anticipate improved talent availability between 2025 and 2030. And it's actually emerging that global AI jobs will be replacing 85 million jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, this should not be something that we would overlook. It shouldn't be something we should overlook. And so the future of work conversation continues. And when we are back, we would be having a guest here who will be talking about sharing her ideas and her ideals of the future of work, what she's been into, and of course, the way forward. Please stay tuned. Do not go anywhere as this conversation is timely. You are a young person. You are African, living in Africa and working in Africa. Trust me, this conversation is for you. By 2030, AI would replace about 85 million jobs. That is scary. But what do we have to do? An upskilling, and evolving, a just transition. We need to be, fast-paced and not be left behind. So we're going to short break, and when we are back, we should have our guest here where the conversations around the future of work continues, and of course what our roles are as a people, as a government, as policymakers. The conversations have to continue. Please stay with us.
Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 60% of its population under 25. We hold the energy, innovation, and drive to reshape the future. From solar-powered villages to bold climate tech, from green entrepreneurs to eco-warriors in slums and cities, the pulse of sustainability is rising. This is Sustainability Pulse with Ebaide, the show where truth meets urgency and action meets hope. Together, we decode the data, amplify the change makers, and reclaim Africa's future, one story at a time. This is not just a show, it is a movement. Welcome to the Pulse. Africa stands at the front lines of the climate crisis. Over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. 1 in 3 face food insecurity due to climate-induced droughts and floods. By 2050, over 100 million people on the continent could be pushed into extreme poverty because of climate change. Plastic waste is piling, forests are vanishing, coastal cities are sinking. Yet, we are not powerless. Africa is also the youngest continent with 6.
Welcome back from the short break, and just before we left off, we talked about the transformation in the workplace, what the future of work is. We went through the climate news with regards to the continent, where we are at, and of course we also hinted about the African Climate Summit happening in September, and of course what leaders have to do, what African leaders have to discuss. We also hinted on the plastic treaty, and I said that once we are back from the break, we do have a guest, a visionary leader, someone who has seen the future even before the conversations even started. She's been doing a lot of work around the future of work. She's taking it around the globe. And with me, ladies and gentlemen, is engineer Oluwakemi and Melody Abiola. She is a tri-sector strategist renowned for her contributions to social development, ICT, and corporate relations. She served as Special Assistant on Youth, ICT, and Corporate Relations to Nigeria's Minister of Youth and Sports Development, and later as Special Assistant on New Media to the Minister of Communications. She founded Viva City Public Relations and Viva City Developments, addressing climate change, gender equality, and governance. A global speaker and author, she also leads the Kamath Foundation. a certified engineer. She continues to inspire change and, of course, earning accolades like the New Africa Global Honors Award. Ladies and gentlemen, so take us through the conversation where we are at and, of course, what she's doing, the tremendous work she's doing, and, of course, the words out to the government, to the policymakers, is no other person but engineer Oluwakemi and Melody Abiola. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. So, I mean, because of time, let's just begin now. Now, let's begin with your big picture, really. You've been deeply involved in shaping these conversations around the future of work in Africa. I have met you beyond here in Nigeria, and of course, outside Nigeria. And this has become, you know, a talked about conversation driven by you. What would you say? You know, what excites you? What's your concern about these things, you know, you're driving at the moment?
I love the word you use, what excites me, because yes, at this point I am excited. I'm excited at the fact that, you know, when you birth a vision and you see it taking shape, it gives you that sense of excitement as well as pleasure. For me, the future of work, as at a year ago, was just a concept that we documented. But as at today, I think we've had about 6 events now on the future of work, as you said, globally. We've done America, I think 2 times, Azerbaijan, we'd had 2 events. Brazil, Abuja twice as well. And what we're doing is the first step in the program, which is to create awareness. And we believe now that that awareness is taking shape. Nigeria has tuned in to the conversation of what does the future of work hold for the Nigerian worker. One of the things I'm very big on is, let's not say the Nigerian youth. Even though, yes, youth is a great percentage of the workforce, but let's say the Nigerian workforce, because we want to talk about everybody up to the age of about, you know, 60, 65, whatever retirement age is, private sector, public sector. And even at some point, you even bring in retirees, because what happens to the retirees as well. And then, you know, we're also talking about the workplace in itself. Because as the future of work evolves for the workforce, it also evolves for the employer. So the employer needs to be tuned on or tuned in to, you know, these changes that are taking place. So at this point, we're very excited that the conversation has been met with open ears and open hearts and open brains. And as much as we've introduced the conversation, we can see that it's taking shape as people like yourself, you know, have jumped on, do we call it a bandwagon, so to say, but have jumped on the movement and are helping us to amplify that movement. And that's stage 1, which is awareness, awareness.
Absolutely. Thank you for that beautiful response. And that's the whole idea of this conversation, you know, driving the conversation towards implementation. Now, let's talk about the current disconnect. I'm sure that from your conversations, the events you've held, from your own vantage point, there are skills gap, you know, that you would want to put forward. The demands are there, you know. So what's holding us back? I want you to amplify on, is it the policy, is it the education, is it investment or something? What's the skills gap? What's the disconnect you are amplifying?
For me personally, and I can only talk from a personal standpoint, because I don't want to speak for government, I don't want to speak for public sector or for private sector. I'm going to speak from Kemi's perspective. And from my perspective, what I see as this particular gap is due to the lack of awareness.
Absolutely.
People cannot give you what they don't have. So for instance, we have a lot of organizations, and we've met a lot of organizations during our course of work that have said, this is the particular skill set that we require. And then, you know, I had this conversation with someone the other day and then you've got, the average young person, and you ask them, say, you know, what are you studying in university? And they come up with a very funny course most of the time. And I ask, you know, why are you studying that? And they said, that's what they gave me. I don't quite understand, you know, why did they give you what, you know, is not pertinent to your future? So number 1, we need to look at the fact that don't take subjects that they give you. It's very important that you have your 2-year, 5-year, 10-year plan, and you're able to understand that. You know, I also heard the other day someone saying that a lot of people are currently in universities globally, not just Nigeria, let's understand that are studying subjects that the jobs in those sectors will be obsolete by the time they enter the job market. So what we need to do first and foremost is there needs to be the understanding. The understanding from policymakers, private sector and public sector. There needs to be the understanding from the actual potential workers and employers. And then there needs to be the policy. The policy that says, you know, as an institution, you must have XYZ courses, you know, in your syllabus. Then, you know, we're also looking at the fact that let's not leave everything to degree courses.
Yeah.
Because as much as myself and yourself studied, degree course, I studied electronic and telecoms engineering, for instance, but that's not sort of where I 100% am at the moment. If I didn't study project management, I wouldn't be able to run, the social enterprise that I do run. So it's very important that, and we sang this song while I was in the Ministry of Youth, where you must have an added advantage.
Absolutely.
And what is that added advantage? That's that additional course that you add onto your foundation course. So we need to sort of like move into the short courses era, where the short courses are accredited, so that we're talking an MVQ level 7, or I don't really know what it's called over here, but we're talking those kind of courses where you take this course to an MTN, a Goldman Sachs, wherever
it's relevant,
and it's relevant and recognized. So not just relevant, but recognized. So that's there needs to be that awareness. There needs to be that synergy, and then that will drive policy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. If you're listening, I'm sure that you are in awe. I mean, so am I, and I'm sure that a lot of people listening would say, I mean, this is new. I mean, I had cause to have a conversation with a friend on Sunday when she was actually insisting that if a nephew should have a degree at least, for the basic. And my point to her was, no, it has been predicted that by 2030, AI would actually replace 84 million jobs. And that's no joke. And looking at your practical experience, you've been to a lot of places, you've organized a lot of events, you have also proffered some solution. I would want you to actually walk us through your experience and, of course, the solution on board.
So what we've garnered over the years is that, number one, and why, because people say, why do you have a lot of international events? And that's because we need to understand what's happening globally. Because it's a global space,
It is.
So once we're able to understand what's happening in other countries, we also need to understand that it is not a plug and play solution. It is an adapt before we adopt. So, Nigeria in itself is a peculiar nation. We're peculiar in our size, our population, our idiosyncrasies, so to speak. So how do we adapt some of the things that are being done globally?
Absolutely.
Before we're able to adopt them, to become our own. So that's number one, and that's why we continue to have these global conversations, because there's no point reinventing the wheel. The wheel already exists. Just add some extra spokes here and there to make it, work for an infant. So that's number one. We're looking at what's happening globally, and then we're looking at the fact that a lot of people are scared of AI, and you'll be scared of something that you don't understand. So that understanding is also key.
Very important, yeah.
And what I want to say that's so important about the future of work is that the future of work will not, let's say, take away jobs in totality.
Yeah.
But what it will do is evolve jobs. So the future of work should be considered to be an evolution of jobs.
Absolutely.
So it means that when 84 million jobs are being taken away, another, let's say, 168 million are being created. So what you just need to do is add those additional skills.
Yeah.
So for instance now, let's go to layman talks. You're a caterer. And AI is coming to sort of like, put food in tins and things like that. Then you need to understand process management. So it's no longer about what you knew before. It's an addition of what you knew before.
An addition.
Added, with that process management. Because, with process management, I remember, there must be only one error in sort of like 3,000 along a product line, so to speak, things like that. So what we need people to understand is that the future of work is the evolution of work. And it just means that as individuals, as a country, as organizations, we need to evolve.
The future of work is the evolution of work. I mean, that is so apt, and anyone listening can relate. I mean, you have broken it down, given examples, cited the future in itself, and was super proud of what you're doing. Now, I know that you have done a lot of things. You have, of course, highlighted key objectives and, of course, giving us perspectives. Now, just before we leave, we would want you, which we see very soon, by the way, you are faced with African leaders, you are faced with government of agencies, you are faced with these functionaries, and you need to ensure that you're able to, call to action these people. I mean, particularly, of course, the green and just transition areas, which, of course, aligns with this, your conversation. What will you be telling them? And of course, whilst you're looking at it, I know that you're also looking at other things you're doing. I know things are coming up in September, in October. You'd want to also share with us. So whilst you're faced with them, what should you be telling world leaders, African leaders, of course, the Nigerian government, policymakers? What will you tell them? Now, of course, I wanted to speak about briefly what you're constantly pursuing, and of course, calling all of us to be part of it.
Thank you so much. So before I begin, if you allow me to chip in, I wasn't born and raised in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
I moved over to Nigeria, I think about 11 years ago, and I'm not going anywhere. And that's because I love what I see here in Nigeria. I love the opportunities that are here. And I want our workforce, I won't hamper on young people alone, but the workforce in totality to see those things that I see. And for them to be able to see those things that I see, we need to amplify the potential that Nigeria has. I was speaking to a young man in my office yesterday, and he was telling me that, I want to do everything to travel out of the country. And by the time we had a 30-minute conversation, he said to me, I don't want to leave Nigeria. I see that there are so many opportunities.
Absolutely.
Here. So what we need to do is, how do we upskill the Nigerian workforce with the vision of this evolution of jobs to make it worthwhile for them while still domiciled over here? And that's what we're calling on international partners to work with us on. So, the first event that you mentioned we're having in London at Imperial College, and we're speaking about the reduction of irregular migration. So, irregular migration because people are migrating in irregular patterns. How do we reduce it? We reduce it by letting them see the opportunities that are here and tap into the opportunities that are here. Because, what does it seem like if you're domiciled here in Nigeria, living here in Nigeria, but you're earning in foreign currency? It's amazing. So you can work remotely. You can work while you're here, but you need to have the skill set and the accredited qualifications that are required globally.
Absolutely.
We'll still also be at the United Nations General Assembly like we normally do, and that conversation is with the global policymakers to see how we can adapt and adopt global policies, to work for Nigerians. So what is critical to us is these international conversations, match funding, it's very important to train as many Nigerians, the members of the workforce, in skills that are of the future while they're domiciled here, as well as educating both the government and the private sector organizations on what the workforce needs to look like. Because if the employer themselves have not evolved,
absolutely,
then, they can't incorporate the employee.
Absolutely. Wow, this has been amazing, and I'm sure that you have gotten insight on how to move forward to where we are. But hey, the conversations will not actually end here today. There'll be more conversations on the future of work. Just as usual, tune in every Mondays and Wednesdays by 9 o'clock on your DSTV channel 390, and of course Star Times as well. These conversations are unending. It is what we need to hear at this point. If we need to preserve ourselves and of course our future, then we need to actually evolve with the future of work, which has to do with evolvement, in its entirety. So thank you as usual for us tuning in, and as usual, our sustainability tips are underway as usual. Refuse single use, reduce single use. By all means, switch off your lights, those small things you can do, have a small garden, plant, reuse your plastic. Those small things, make a whole world of difference. Do not forget, as usual, we're here to weigh and examine the conversations and of course implementation around sustainability. And this is the future of work, guys. This is the future in itself, beyond even the future of work. This is the future, and like I keep saying, this is not just a show or a platform. This is a movement, and we all must be part of it and drive with it. See you next on Monday. Stay tuned. And of course, it was great having engineer Oluwakemi and Melody Ariola here. And thank you so much for coming. Till next time. We would always drag her here, but let's see what happens next time. Do have a beautiful week ahead.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future.
Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow. Here we promote smart solutions for greener harvests. My name is Daniel Black as usual, and this is a media for agricultural development project of Growth for Sustainable Agriculture Initiative. That's the NGO that is focused on supporting African farmers to adopt sustainable agricultural practices. In the past episodes, we have been spotlighting and highlighting different technological solutions, different advancements in agriculture that farmers could imbibe, farmers could use to get to maximize their profit and produce sustainably. Today we'll be talking about a very, very key topic, especially in the clamor for climate change, in the clamor for environmental sustainability. We'll be talking about solar energy and its agricultural and opportunities or solutions for the agricultural sector. We've heard a whole lot about solar energy. Everybody's talking about going solar and all of that. How can the agricultural sector begin to maximize and get to use the solar energy? And to discuss that topic, that very crucial topic with me today, is no other than an expert in the field, Mr. Babatunde Sonya, the CEO of SGIL Solar and Lights Energy Limited. Welcome, Mr. Babatunde.
Welcome. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on our show today, and thank you for taking out the time to come and share with farmers and agri enthusiasts how they can maximize solar energy in different ways for agricultural production. So, but before we delve deep into the core of the conversation, let's just know a little about you. So, just kindly do some introduction.
Well, my name is Eli Babatunde. I'm CEO of SGIL Solar Light and Energy Limited. We are based here in Abuja. So we have projects in different parts of this country, and we are majorly into renewable energy. And basically, we focus on solar renewable energy. We provide home solutions, we provide agricultural solar solutions, we provide even industrial solutions for both small scale businesses.
Interesting. And I'm happy you've mentioned, but I heard you say Melaye. Are you related to Dino Melaye?
Well, I just said
Interesting. Okay, now that the way you've answered it has made me more interested, but I respect your wishes. We'll leave the part. Okay, so yeah, Mr. Babatunde. So over the years, I have known you. I have seen you do so many things in this space. So let's just go into the core of the matter. At SGIL, what are the opportunities? What are the solutions that SGIL as a company now? Before we go into the broader space, as a company, do you have any core agri solutions that is maximizing the solar space and of course your specialty?
Yes, actually we have a lot of agricultural solar solutions, starting with irrigation. We have solar irrigation system. We have solar farm lighting system.
Okay.
We have solar security system. We have solar security system actually.
Oh, okay.
So we have them in different ways. For instance, now in the section of Abuja, like with the barrier, we have a lot of farms there, both micro and large farms. We've supported them in different ways, especially in the area of light.
Okay.
Their livestock.
Yes.
Like poultry.
Yes.
The poultry farmers, they want to, during their brooding, they want light
Mm-hmm.
system, and they have this challenge that most of these areas,
in the rural areas.
yes, there's no grid there.
Mm-hmm.
So we supported them in providing solar lighting solutions
Okay.
for both their poultry and their general livestock.
Yes.
And most times there's a particular challenge to them that has to do with staff. So the staff stays in the farm, and they also want to, of course, they want to read, they want to do their own activities, they also want to compete with their boss and their family. But they have a challenge of to charge phone. I tell you, it's a very big challenge.
Yes.
So we've been able to intervene in those areas, and a lot of farms are aspiring.
Wow. We will go deep into that, and we'll have to understand these different solutions. But before we go into that, we'll just take a short break, and we'll be back to discuss more on solar energy and agricultural opportunities.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 9:30 a.m. Monday to Fridays on Aso TV, channel 392 DSTV, Star Times, channel 127, or YouTube live stream, GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greener solutions.
Welcome back from that short break. I hope you've gotten excited already. Today we are discussing solar energy and its agricultural solutions, and we need to know how, as farmers, we can tap into the solar energy rave that is going on right now. And of course, like I had introduced, our guest is the CEO of SGIL Solar Lights and Energy Limited, and Mr. Babatunde Sonya, who has refused to tell us if he is related to Mr. Dino Malaye. But Babatunde, thank you so much, and yeah, I appreciate the work you're doing with farmers in the rural areas, because like you have mentioned, most times if you want to see a real farm, it's in the rural area, and most that is where your solution comes into play. So let's go into some monetary terms, because you know, here we want farmers to maximize their profits. So let's go into, so for a farmer to be able, you were before we went on that break, you were also talking about charging their phones so that they can keep in communication, and those that use tech solutions like farm management apps can keep using that. So for a farmer to conveniently have a reliable, some source of power, maybe you will just do my question and see basically what are the basic needs of that farmer in the farm, and what would it cost that farmer to have a solar installed for him.
Okay. I always, when people talk about costs, one of the things that when it comes to power and energy generation, solar is the most affordable solution that you can talk about.
So many people will beg to differ.
Yes. Now I will explain. You see, depending on what you want, you can say, okay, I have 5,000, I need solar. You will get it.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Now
this is interesting.
The question now comes. The question that comes up is, okay, what do you want the solar to do? Oh, somebody just talking about, I just want light too. I just need light in I just want one light. Of course, you have as low as 5,000 naira solar bulb that will sustain you. You can do anything. You can read, at least for visibility. Somebody is talking about, okay, I want to charge my phone. I also want to have lights, at least some minimum level of comfort and maybe entertainment. Okay, we have a solution. Is a small solar lighting kit that comes with is embedded with charging of phone, you can also have light.
Okay.
And some has MP3 players and radio.
With them.
Yes, they can listen to FM radio. So so those things are
They're
like
in
that.
different cadres.
They are in different. So now the question we ask them is, okay, what do you want solar to do? Okay, somebody is talking about, okay, I want to power my deep freezer because I have a poultry, and sometimes we have mortality. And when we have mortality, we need to kill them or something and keep them dressed. And all that,
and then of course frozen.
Yes. So there is solar fridge.
Okay.
There is solar freezer that is focused majorly on those things.
Okay.
Now, if you now say, okay, this is what I want. This is the only thing I want to do.
That will just confine what solar is giving to you.
Targeted to that. Then somebody say, no, we have borehole in the farm because of my livestock, they need water and all that. Okay, you want to power the borehole. Some want to power borehole, they want freezer, they want all these things, all these appliances.
If possible, they want AC too.
Yes, to be powered. So that is one thing about solar. So solar is not like, okay, this is how much you do solar. No, as low as it depends on what you want. And wherever you want to start from is okay.
Oh wow.
You can start from anywhere.
I love that your answer is very, very encouraging. That because when we talk about like for the national grid, they don't calculate what you need it for. Once they give you light, you have light, right? But for solar, like you've mentioned, we can tailor it to your specific needs, and that will also factor in the expenses you make. So you're not making one general cost. Your cost is based on your need.
Yes.
That's interesting. And you've also mentioned some agricultural solutions like the deep freezer and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, but now my question is, these things sound elitist. How available are these things? These solar freezers, solar dryers, solar powered equipment, pump. How accessible, how available are they for the rural farmer?
Well, they are very much available. And it just depends on what the farmer needs. Now, okay, just as I said, it's like, okay, my main concern is I want to put light in my poultry farm. I want to make sure that there is light for my birds to be able to feed at maximum time, to maximize the time and all that. So we give you light. Light is available.
Something just came to my mind now.
Yes.
For the benefit, so I don't know if in this time and age there's someone that would really not know what solar is, but for the benefit of whoever may not understand or have been hearing this solar.
Yeah.
In layman terms, right?
Yes.
Explain what solar is and then give its core benefits, core advantages it has over other sources of energy.
Okay. Now, solar energy is a form of energy that is generated from the sun.
Okay.
Now we have different sources of energy. We have the hydro. We have the wind. We have other. So, but we are focusing on solar here. Solar is just like, okay, here I need energy, and solar is a free form of accessing energy. It will come. Now we have three major components that help you to achieve your energy needs. One is the solar panel. The solar panel is what you position, you put outside where sun is, you can receive energy from the sun.
Yes.
The solar panel receives the energy, converts it to usable form, and stores it. It stores it in what we call battery. There are different batteries. We have the gel battery, we have the lithium ion. Basically, most of our small solutions comes in lithium ion, which is just like the battery you have on your phone.
Okay.
So very, very reliable and sustainable. Now, it stores it and keeps it. It keeps it in the battery. The battery now dispenses out in the form of light, in whichever energy you want to use it for. We also have a means of having it direct. The sun, for instance, we talk about the solar freezer. Solar freezer is, okay, put up your panel outside, connect your freezer, and it's up. You may not even need battery or any other conversion. Also in the forms of borehole, we have the borehole. Just connect your borehole, connect it to the solar, and it's pumping. Just your control on it and off it. That's all. So they are all encompassing, talking about energy generation and supply. So this is what solar is.
That's quite interesting. So and from your earlier answer, whatever volume of energy you need can be solved by solar.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So now my question is, I just want to, are there any government interventions trying to, because of course we know for the transport sector, government has tried to intervene to do CNG for drivers, and it is supposedly a cheaper and better means of fueling their vehicles, right? So being that you're in the space, are you aware of any government intervention to support farmers or even rural households to convert to solar?
Well, I think yes, and let me not completely say yes, but government is actually trying their best. But you know, this is a country, and we know what is obtainable as a country. So a lot of times these opportunities are there, but they are not even accessible by the common, the general public, or the main people that actually talk. Okay, let me, for instance, now you talk about fertilizer. Issue of fertilizer is of course supposed to be given to farmers at a particular cheaper rate, but this fertilizer, some people have big people,
some corporate farmers have cornered it. Are you saying that that has happened in the solar?
It's happening everywhere, of course. It's happening everywhere. Else, though we have a lot of issues are still coming up. We are trying to see how we can get government involved more in that space. So, but which I believe government is getting.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babatunde.
Thank you, sir.
I am very, very hopeful that somebody has listened today and has taken interest in converting to solar energy and also making use of that in his or her farm. And I believe that maybe someone will be interested in reaching out to you to get a more expert advisory, because of course a farmer will tell you, I need this, I need this, I need this. You will also tell the farmer, you can do this and do this. You can give him a more expert advisory on how best to get that. So before we just shut down for today, so I want you to give your last note as a word of advice to farmers that are spending so much on energy, a word of advice, and then of course drop your contact details should they want to reach out to you and start exploring means of using solar.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity once again. And I want to say to our listeners out there, as a matter of fact, affordability and clean renewable energy is very, very possible. And it is, when you talk about affordable, is affordable for everyone. So take that step now and start something. And I think you can start from wherever you are, and you can get to the next level. And I tell you, you will not regret the step.
Please, your contact details.
All right. My phone number is our phone number is 080 68 12 6479. 080 68 12 6479. You can call. You can also send us a WhatsApp message.
Do you have an office here in Abuja?
Yes, we have an office in Abuja. We have an office in Buhari.
Okay.
And is a suit 9 AHA Plaza, Buhari. It's just adjacent First Bank. It's not too far from First Bank. We also have some other outlets.
Interesting. I am very certain that some farmers will reach out to you and start exploring options of solar energy in their farm. Thank you so much, Mr. Babatunde,
It's my privilege.
CEO of SGIL Solar Energies and Lights Limited. We are hopeful to have you again on our show and discuss more on how farmers could benefit from the solar energy industry. Thank you so much. And dear viewers, this will be our take for today on the show. I believe you have gotten something, and it has inspired you to begin to use solar and cleaner energy for your farms. See you in the next episode, and of course, follow us on social media to continue this conversation. And if you know other solar powered solutions in there for the agri sector, please do well to put it on the comment section in our social media, and then see you in the next episode.
In the heart of our fields lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions.